What's up, guys? DLE Kamell here to give you what Kamell thinks about the new EX structure deck just added today with the KCGT Celebration Stardust Nexus. Now, as you guys can imagine, when I saw this morning that we were getting a structure deck, a synchro structure deck, I figured it. Of course, this all had to culminate with a synchro focused structure deck, and I had thoughts of absolutely roasting it, but then I had some perspective. So we're gonna get into what I thought was positive about it and that perspective that I had first, and then we'll get into what I think about the cards themselves. So what I realized when I saw this box is that they are trying to reintroduce Stardust Dragon and the Yusei archetype, anime archetype. They're trying to reintroduce that into the current game because I guess maybe down the road they're going to release some things that are going to coincide with this and maybe give it a power boost, maybe a support, and also likely because a lot of these cards are kind of like gone. They did not catch on when they initially released Quick Draw Synchron and Junk Synchron and Stardust Dragon in the Synchro era. So now I feel that they are taking a second jab at it while making the cards readily available again for new players. So it is good that Stardust Dragon, Junk Synchron, and Quick Draw Synchron are available for new players to come in and pick up if they want to spend the money to make a deck out of this. I think that is great. And I think it is cool that you get a Shooting Star Dragon icon. There's a skill that is also with the KCGT event. You get Shooting Star Dragon, and Rai has a cool deck. Here's a video on that on the channel. I'm not going to talk too much about that deck because it's really unproven, and it's got some working around to do. We've got a whole week of tournaments afterwards, but I'm really just going to focus on the cards themselves. So that is what I think. I think it is very positive for new players because they get to have quick access to these Synchro era cards that did not really catch on, and they will probably not be available to them anyway because they're in really bad boxes. So on to what I think about the cards themselves. The two big reprints are Junk Synchron and Quick Draw Synchron. That makes this EX structure deck justified, right? These are two. Quick Draw Synchron is in a main box that's like 2 years old, and Junk Synchron in a mini box. So if they are going to reintegrate the Synchro strategy, you are definitely going to have to give people quick access to these cards. Stardust Dragon, also a reprint. Just going to get these out of the way. Junk Archer and Junk Warrior are also reprints. You needed to have these so people have a toolbox of synchros. Stardust Respark. Most of these monsters. Junk Anchor, Junk Servant making a return from the previous 5D structure deck that came out with their release. So I thought that was kind of odd that they're in a previous structure deck and now they're going to reprint it again. But it is again for the purpose of giving new players something to build if they want to start off with synchros instead of starting off with Xyz. So there you go. So on to the new cards. Junk Converter is the first one. You can discard this card to add a tuner. And Junk Synchron from your deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can target a tuner in your graveyard, special summon it. So they actually illustrate that here. You can use Junk Converter with Junk Synchron and utilize this effect as a synchro material to summon Stardust Dragon. Now, with Shooting Star Dragon also being available to us, you're going to be able to use this card in all sorts of combos, along with the next new card that we're getting. This is the big one, Formula Synchron. This is a level 2 synchro tuner that you are going to use to summon Shooting Star Dragon and whatever other synchro tuner plays you're going to make. This card is a really popular card for the TCG, and a lot of people thought that we were going to get this in Synchro era, and we did not. I'm glad that it's not in a box, at least in a structure deck. That is good. Once per chain, during your opponent's main phase, you can immediately after this effect resolve synchro summon using this card you control. So it is a quick effect Synchro Summon, which is always nice. And Synchro Summons need to have powerful effects like that for them to be, you know, viable. We've seen TG's is the recent, chain Synchro Summoning deck that, chains very well. But then once they get their Synchro Monster out, once you see how vulnerable it is and how little it does in the grand scheme of things, you ultimately fall apart. And that is what I'm going to say is the main problem with this deck. The end goal with the Synchro Tuners, the Stardust, the SL Synchro, the Synchron Tuners, it is just a little too fragile. Now, this next card helps that, and we're going to see, because this card, I believe, has the most potential in the structure deck. Synchro Chase. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the effect of activations of your Synchro monsters with Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust. Now, this does not apply to the normal monsters. Again, only the Synchro monsters. So, Junk Warrior, Junk Archer, Stardust Dragon, Stardust, Stardust, not the Shooting Star Dragon. Interesting. Keep that in mind. If you Synchro Summon a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust monster, you can target one monster in your graveyard. Use this material Special Summon in defense position. Again, good for the chain Synchro Summoning to allow you to get into the higher levels, like your Shooting Star Dragon. Now, this protects your monsters while their effects are activated. It's giving them a slight window where they can't be touched, but afterwards they are still vulnerable. Now, really quickly, I am going to see if I can get a look at Shooting Star Dragon by clicking on this campaign here. Yes, this requires one Tuner Synchro Monster and Stardust Dragon, so just Formula and Stardust. You can excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, shuffle them back in, and then it gains attacks equal to the amount of tuners. Once per turn, during either player's turn, when a card effect is activated, they'll destroy a card in the field, negate it, and destroy it. And then, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can target the attacking monster, banish this card, and if you do, negate that attack. During the next end phase, special summon this card, banished by this effect. So, this card is better than most of these anime cards that we get, and it's going to be readily available to you with the tools in the structure deck. But again, it is vulnerable to straight up being targeted, being bounced back to the deck by a card like Cyber Slash Harp Lady, being flipped down by Canadia, Floodgate, getting Fiendish Chained as well. A lot of these things that are skirting around destruction, that this card is, destruction is the only thing that it's protected against, again. So, if you play a Shooting Star Dragon deck, you're going to have to do it with, protection around this guy while being able to spam out your Synchro Engine. And once again, I'm not too excited about this. I think that it is going to end up like TG's, another Glass Cannon Synchro archetype that does not really amount to much. I would love for it to be meta, and I think for this EX structure deck for me to say it's good, it's going to have to see some meta potential, and that is not immediately relevant to me, at least. Also going to take a look at the skill that we get with this, just to make sure. Rhino Rai was reading this. He said it is good. Check out his video where he goes over a deck list with Circus. You begin the duel with Junk Converter in your graveyard. This is nice because remember, we're special summoning Junk Converter, and we're with Junk Synchron. Play one Formula Synchron. Okay, if you controlled Stardust Dragon, so instant Shooting Star. You can only wind Synchro monsters can be special summon from your extra deck until the end of your opponent's turn. This skill will only activate if you begin the duel with 8 Junk monsters or Synchro Tuner monsters, and your extra deck has 4 Junk Synchron or Stardust monsters. So the requirements for the skill are not too great, and it does help the deck out quite a lot. You don't have to go the extra mile to worry about getting out Formula Synchron. This skill will automatically put it on your field once. So if you want to summon it again, you will have to get it out that way. And I think this is a very good skill to put alongside the structure deck. It makes the main goal of getting out your Shooting Star Dragon very easy. Now, the goal for this deck is what are you going to do once this card's on the field? It is immediately vulnerable to all of the big removal cards that people are using right now. What are you going to do once it's on the field? What are some options that people use to keep their stuff on the field once it's already there, or get rid of stuff before your monster comes out? MST, get rid of those. Venus Chains, those Karma Cuts. Forbidden Lands, protect your monster from spell and traps. You know, think about that stuff. So, my end ideas on the Stardust Nexus. God, I hope I got that right. Stardust Nexus, I sure did. Is that I'm happy that it is making synchro summoning available to newer players who were not playing back then. But I am not really impressed with what I think the archetype is going to be able to accomplish in the meta right now. TGs has just kind of, dawned on itself that, oh, we can spam synchro summon, but the TG monsters are not the best, and spam synchro summoning right now is like not the best. So we'll have to see. There's a lot of talented people in the community. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any deck lists or ideas for Stardust, Synchrons, Junks, Warriors, whatever, put them in the Discord. Everyone is really eager to know how everyone wants to play this deck. So yeah, peace out, and stay tuned for all our videos on the KCGT. We're gonna have a lot of them. Peace out, guys.